And welcome to the Fast Break. You're running it with Chill Rob and G Money. How you doing today on this Christmas Day, G Money?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I gotta say, I was doing pretty good. Home Alone 1, 2, and 3 have been running nonstop on Stars Encore for the last 24 hours or so. Been dropping in on that. I was doing pretty good till I had to watch my Knicks go down today.
Knicks usually lose on Christmas.
That's sort of what we're here to talk about. Do a little quick season recap so far as we come to an end in 2017 and 2018 for the Knicks and Nets. Well, first off, give me your overall grade for the Knicks season so far. The Knicks are 17 and 16. I haven't done yet.
You took a pause.
All right, so the Knicks are, as we speak, after dropping the game, they are 17 and 16. Currently occupying the 8th spot in the East. I gotta say, a lot better than I thought. I give them a solid B as we come to an end of 2017. What do you give them, your overall grade for the New York Knickerbockers?
I tend to agree with you. I give them a solid B. I mean, considering Porzingis has been out for a few games, I mean, the Knicks seem to be really playing well as a team. They got the as of right now, they securing the 8th spot in the East. So, and nobody expected them to actually make the playoffs. So they're in the playoff hunt. So overall, pleasantly surprised, like you said.
And I gotta say, I really love how this team played. The Garden is rocking again for the first time in since Jeremy Lin showed up. I always have to bring up Jeremy Lin during the show, but the Garden is finally rocking since he left town. We were there maybe a week or so ago when the OKC Thunder were around, and I gotta say, just the way this team plays, I don't know what you saw, but I love it. They're so unselfish, in part because the starting lineup usually most of them can't even play one-on-one. Jarrett Jack, Lance Thomas, Cantor. Porzingis can play one-on-one some, but Courtney Lee, not really one-on-one players. Love the effort, love the grit, love the ball movement, the unselfishness of this team. They're actually a lot of fun to watch, more fun than they have been in a number of years now.
Well, the reason that they're more fun to watch is because we don't see any ISO ball right now. And the main reason why we don't see any ISO ball is because of one person, and that's Carmelo Anthony. He is out, and the Knicks seem to be playing together. The Knicks seem to be happy playing with each other, not just standing around watching each other, moving the ball. Even though they do create a lot of turnovers, they do get back on D. They play some solid D. The game we went to against OKC, Michael Beasley was taken over.
Boy, Michael Beasley getting an MVP chance. All of a sudden, he's become a key part of this team just off the bench. Enes Kanter, all right, basically the main guy they got back. Doug McDermott's, they bring him in to shoot threes for 15 minutes a game. But Enes Kanter has very quietly put together a tremendous season. 31 points, 22 boards against Joel Embiid and the Sixers today. He's averaging a double-double for the year. Giving you more than you could have asked for. What a great trade it's been for the New York Knicks. I've always thought Carmelo was addition by subtraction. And also the second big question was, how would Kristaps Porzingis respond to being the Batman instead of the Robin? He's having himself an all-star year, around 25 points, 7 boards, 2 blocks a game. So far, it's worked out tremendous. And then, if Carmelo was still here, Kristaps wouldn't be what Kristaps is right now.
Yeah, I think last year and the year before, I think really Carmelo has been hindering Kristaps' progress. So today, this season, Kristaps shows what he can do. I'm not that surprised about Enes Kanter, though. Enes Kanter was decent in OKC. He's capable of putting up a double-double. I mean, as pretty much the only a true center that the Knicks have. So I think I'm not surprised about Enes Kanter, but Porzingis is making some good progress. I think the Knicks have a bright future ahead of them, and they have some good role players as well. So we'll see what happens next year, going into the next year. But I have I'm a firm believer that the Knicks might make the playoffs this year.
The Knicks are apparently, pretty up until today, pretty much unbeatable and tremendous at home. Now that they lost to the Sixers, they're 15-6 at home. But for some reason, these guys just can't play on the road for their lives. Just 2-10. So I guess the tough part moving forward is they got 21 home games in the bag, just 12 road games so far. So they're going to play 9 more games on the road than at home the rest of the way. That's going to be the biggest challenge moving forward in my mind.
Yeah, well, they have to figure out how to play in the hostile environment. But I mean, usually teams don't really play well on the road. I mean, you don't really see a lot of great road teams unless you're one of the top teams in the NBA. So I'm not too worried about that. I mean, in the East, anything can happen. I mean, in the East, you could be sub 500 and still make the playoffs. So, I mean, I wouldn't be worried too much if I were a Knicks fan right now. And the future looks bright. And as long as they keep winning at home, I think they can still squeak out a playoff spot.
Well, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at what it takes to make the playoffs and if the Knicks can make it. All right. So 15-6 right now, 20 more games to go at home. What's a fair record for the rest of the 20 games at home? I mean, I don't think they're going 14-6 or anything, or 15-5 again. I mean
maybe if they go 500, if they go 10-10, maybe 10-10 at home, or a little above that, or 12-8, maybe.
I think 12-8, 11-9 is that's reasonable. So let's say 12-8. All right. So I'm going to put down they're 12-8 the rest of the way at home. 29 games left on the road. 2-10 so far. What's a fair estimate for the rest of the road games the rest of the way? 29 games. What's a fair, reasonable expectation?
I would give them 10 wins on the road. So 10-19.
So let's say you give them 10-19 the rest of the way. So you do the math. You're giving them 12 more wins at home, 10 more wins on the road. That gives them 22 wins on top of what they have right now. And the Knicks right now,
17 right now. So
17-60. So, I mean, you're giving them 39 wins, and that means they would have 43 losses, 82-game season. If they go, they're probably going to have to be a little bit better than that if they want to make the playoffs. I don't think 39-42 is going to cut it.
No, I think it might. If you look at the records right now, I mean, the Heat are in ninth place. I mean, the Heat are just right behind the Knicks with 17. It's same record as the Knicks, 17-16. Right. So the only other team that can challenge the Knicks for a playoff spot is the Sixers. I don't think the Nets or the Hornets or the Magic. I mean, they're too far behind right now. So I really think the Knicks only have the Heat to be worried about.
Well, I think the Sixers have surprised me. I thought they'd be much better. I thought they were a shoo-in for like a 6 to 8 playoff spot. They've been struggling. They looked okay today. They turned the ball over far too much, but they're more talented than their record right now, 15-18.
Yeah, but they got some injuries.
As I look at the other teams in there, Milwaukee's not falling out of a playoff spot. Washington's not falling out of a playoff spot. Could Detroit possibly fall out of a playoff spot? I know they've been a pleasant surprise. Somehow they're the fifth seed right now, 18-14. That's only a game and a. The Knicks are only a game and a half away from being the fifth seed. Strangely enough, still, could the Pistons maybe fall out, or do you think they're in?
No, I think the Pistons are shoo-in. The only team I'm worried about is really maybe the Heat. I mean, I think the Wizards are going to be much better in the second half. I mean, they're not going to be a 500 team the rest of the way. And Milwaukee is going to be much better. I think Milwaukee's still going to be much better. So the Pistons might fall out of the fifth spot. I don't think they're going to stay with the fifth spot, but I still think they're not going to fall out of the eighth spot.
What about the Pacers? 4C right now, 19-14. Victor Oladipo is playing at an all-star level. Any chance they drop off, or are you pretty much penciling them in for the playoffs too?
They might drop off a little bit. I expect them to drop off a little, but I don't expect them to drop off the amount that everybody. I mean, that would fall out of a playoff spot. So I would expect the Pacers to be around the 6th or 7th seed when all is said and done.
And so it definitely looks like it's going to be Miami, New York, and Miami, New York, and Philly battling for that last spot. I don't know. 39 doesn't seem. If with 20 games at home, I think 12-8 is reasonable. If they can knock it up from 10-19 on the road, the last 29 games, if they can up that to 13-16, 3 wins, that's 42-39. That would cut it for sure, I think.
Well, yeah, definitely. If you're above 500, you definitely make the playoffs in the East. But I don't think it'll take 42 wins to make the playoffs. I think it'll take probably 37 or 30 to 39 wins. That's good enough to make the playoffs in the East.
Wow.
And I predicted this. I think everybody predicted this at the beginning of the season, right? You don't need 40 wins to actually advance. Because at the beginning of the season, I believe we looked back at last season. And last season, what was the cutoff to make the playoffs in the East? It wasn't 40 wins. It was like 30-something wins. 37, maybe 38 wins.
Last year?
Yeah, last year.
Last year,
we can look
well, the Bulls made it at 400, at 500, 41-41.
The 8th seed?
At the 8th seed, yeah.
Yeah, so this season, I believe it's going to be a little lower. It's not going to take 41 wins. It's going to take probably 39 wins, which is where the Knicks would be.
I still think it's 40, 41, 42 for sure gets you in. So, obviously they're going to have to play better on the road. They're going to have to keep up this great play at home. For some reason, they just 2-10. They just can't win on the road. It's terrible. Now, Porzingis' health. How worried are you about Porzingis' health? Obviously he didn't show up to the game we were at. Missed, I think, 1 or 2 more games afterwards. The Knicks are 1-5 without him. He's come back, hasn't shot really well. 0 for 11 his first game back. Scored 29 points, something like that. In Detroit, didn't shoot well. Played some good defense today against Philly, but again, shot poorly. How are you worried about Porzingis' health moving forward? 6 for 19 today. Did go to the line 14 times, got 5 blocks. Are you concerned about Porzingis' health?
A little bit. I mean, he has some knickknacks here and there, it looks like. If he keeps sitting out games, maybe the Knicks will be in trouble. But, I mean, so far, it looks like the Knicks have tried to find a way to be competitive in games without him, right? They haven't really been blown out. They've been pretty competitive in the games where Porzingis has to sit out. So it just comes down to they have to figure out how to win without him.
And I've seen enough of Jack. I mean, he's an okay backup. He shouldn't be starting. I think it's time to give Frank Ntilikina. I think it's time to give him more minutes. Start, splitting up the time 50-50. And definitely by the All-Star break, Frank needs to be starting. Because, I mean, I've seen Jack, he tries hard. He makes some good plays here and there, but I just see so many bad turnovers. We saw a few against the OKC game. Today, he had a number of bad turnovers, especially in crunch time when the Knicks came back to tie the game in the late fourth quarter. And he pretty much had 2 horrendous possessions that that was the beginning of the end for the Knicks there. It's time, right? It's time to get Frank more minutes here.
Well, yeah, of course. You want to see the rookie, get more minutes and hopefully to develop him more. But maybe the Knicks think that he's not really ready to step into the spotlight. I don't know. Maybe he's not ready for more minutes. So I guess the Knicks fans, they need to be patient right now. Stick it out with Jack. And hopefully, as the season goes along, maybe you gradually increase Frank's minutes.
So what's your prediction the rest of the way? What will the Knicks' final record be? Will they make the playoffs?
I think the Knicks' record will be 39-42, and they will make the playoffs as the 8th seed in the East.
Wow! And who will they upset? The Cavaliers or the Celtics?
No, they're not going to upset anybody. I'm just saying they're making the playoffs, but they're going to be bounced. Probably a sweep, or maybe they'll win 1 game in the first round. But that's about it.
I just think they got off to such a hot start at home. I see them playing maybe 500 ball the rest of the way at home. So that's 20 games left. I give them 10 wins at home. Play a little bit better on the road. I give them 12 wins.
I thought you just predicted 12-10 at home.
No, they don't have 20 games.
Changing your mind already? I said 10-10.
No, you said 12-8. You said 12-8.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable. I think it's reasonable, but I think it's.
And now you're saying it's 10-10.
It's 12-8 is reasonable, but I'm going to go with 10-10 because I just see them stumbling more.
Well, if they go 10-10, I think they're not going to make the playoffs.
No, I don't think they make the playoffs either. I think they get 10 wins at home, 11, 12 wins on the road. I think they'll finish with right around where you said, 39, 38 wins. And I think
I
they will
don't think 37 wins is going to make the playoff. I think 39 wins will make the playoff. 37 is definitely not going to.
I think they get 38, 39, and they still miss the playoffs. I think the Sixers are going to start picking it up.
I still think the Sixers will have some knick-knack injuries down the line, but that will prevent them from actually making a push.
So we'll see. So I'm saying no playoffs. You're saying playoffs. But we're both satisfied with what we see so far. Solid B. Very impressed with what we see so far this year in 2017 from the New York Knickerbockers.
I'm impressed. I thought that they would be one of the worst teams. I definitely think they were going to be worse than the Nets this year, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
The Nets are 12-20 right now. I gotta say, still much better than what most people projected. I think going to the season, most people expected that pick that Boston had that they traded to Cleveland in the Kyrie trade, that they would be a top 3 pick for sure. But right now, if you look at the standings, the Nets would have the number 10 pick if all the lottery balls bounced the way it was supposed to. So right now, you as a Brooklyn Nets fan, you have to be quite impressed as well.
Me personally, as a Nets fan, it's been a trying season, obviously, from the very get-go. I mean, with losing Jeremy Lin, I mean, that was a huge blow. Obviously, it took the wind out of the sails very early on in the season. But if I had to look back and evaluate this season so far, I would have to be pretty impressed. I mean, 12 wins. I mean, it's better than I expected with all the injuries going on. They fought. They've prevailed. I mean, they've kept. They played a lot of close games. Obviously, a lot of overtime games. They couldn't pull it out at the end. But yeah, overall, I would say it's been a trying season, but it's also been a very upbeat season for me. Watching all these young players develop.
And I think we said before the season started that they would have more wins than the New York Knicks. And if you look at the record, it's pretty much a 5-game difference. It's not hard to imagine. Jeremy Lin, D'Angelo Russell, their best 2 players. They're 32 games so far that the Nets have played. So times that by 2. These 2 guys should have played a total of 64 games. Right now, Jeremy Lin and D'Angelo Russell have played a combined 13 games out of 64. Jeremy Lin didn't even get through the first game. Not hard to imagine if these guys are healthy and they play, let's say they don't play 32. Let's say they play 27 to 30 of the 32 games. Not hard to imagine they've had at least 5 more wins and be right there in the playoff hunt, right there with the Knicks. Maybe even better.
All right. They would obviously win some of those close games that they lost. They've been involved in a lot of close games. So, obviously at the end of the game, you want the ball in D'Angelo Russell's hands and let him create. And the Nets don't have the luxury of doing that recently. So can't wait for him to come back. But yeah, I mean, look, this season obviously it's a learning experience. It's a trying experience. You develop the young guys. Jared Allen, I've seen some good things out of him. I mean, obviously they made a big trade, trading away Trevor Booker for Nick Stauskas and Jahlil Okafor. That's still the jury's still on that one, but I'm still hopeful that Okafor can develop into the player that everybody thought he was. And hopefully the Nets' future looks a little brighter in the second half. I'm looking forward to the second half and see what develops.
And with that Okafor trade, the Nets actually have 2 of the top 3 picks back from the 2015 draft. I think Karl Anthony Towns went number 1, D'Angelo Russell number 2, Jahlil Okafor number 3. So the Nets have number 2 and 3 from that draft. He only played 1 game. I don't get what happened. Kenny Atkinson played him for 1 game. He had 10 points, 4 boards, 22 minutes, pretty much been riding the bench ever since. The coach says he needs to get in better shape. What are you expecting from Jahlil Okafor the rest of the way? I mean, in him, I see kind of like a Brook Lopez type guy, a big guy who plays no defense, can score the ball some, and doesn't really rebound.
Well, hopefully he can be a little bit better than Brook Lopez. I think, I understand what Kenny Atkinson was looking at, but Jahlil Okafor, I would put Jahlil Okafor right on the court right now. I mean, the Nets, need somebody who can another big man in there who can protect the paint. And I think if Jahlil Okafor can develop into that type of player, that's basically got a steal in this trade, and their future looks a lot brighter. I want to see Jahlil Okafor play with D'Angelo Russell. That's what I want to see, and hopefully it gets to that point. Maybe this season, and not this season, next season.
What's your sort of take on the progress of some of the younger guys, Karis LeVert, Alan Crabb, after he signed the big contract? How do you like in the progression?
Alan Crabb, I mean, he's been up and down. I mean, he's had some decent games, but he's also had some poor shooting games. That's I guess that's the type of thing you get with a 3-point shooter. You get some off games, but you get some really good games. Karis LeVert, I'm really excited about. I mean, he can pass, he can shoot, he can, he has some good court vision. So hopefully he develops into a a versatile player, and hopefully the Nets made some good moves this season so far, but it remains to be seen. I mean, so far they've surprised me, but still, I mean, they're not good enough to really compete right now. So they need that one guy. They still need that one guy. I'm still waiting for that one guy to step up and take control of the team.
Well, maybe it'll be D'Angelo Russell if he can get healthy and get on the floor. So the Nets have played 32 games, 12-20, 49 games the rest of the way. How many wins do you give them out of the last 49?
I would be happy with probably 15. I mean, I don't see them winning that many games. I don't see them, being 500 the rest of the way. So hopefully, maybe once D'Angelo Russell comes back, they win more games. But if D'Angelo Russell just sits out maybe the rest of the season, then it's going to be tough to win games.
So 15 more wins, give them 27 on the year, which would mean a final record of 27 and 54. I guess you'll take that.
I'll take that. I mean, that's better than they were last year, right?
What were they last year? They didn't have 27 wins last year, did they?
No, I think they had 24 maybe.
Let's see here. 20 and 60.
Well,
20 and 62. So this would, they would be 27 and check that, 27 and 55. I mean, that'd be a 7-game improvement.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you improve from one year to the next, I mean, you can't complain about that.
So letter grade for the Nets so far, I give them a decent C.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a C or C minus, around that range. I mean, what could have been is not, so you can't really predict what could have, should have, would have. But yeah, C or C minus.
All right. Any thoughts on Brother Lynn that you want to share lately? He looks like he's been rehabbing in Vancouver, bouncing back between the U.S. and Canada. Seems like he's back on his feet doing some strength exercises. It looks like it's a long road to rehabilitation, but so far he's doing it.
He's doing it. Hopefully it'll translate into something positive next season. I'm not really expecting him to do anything next season, but maybe he'll surprise everybody. Maybe he's working hard. He looks like he's working hard. So trying to get back on the court, trying to implement himself back in the NBA, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, next year is going to be a crucial year. I'm sure we'll talk about that more as the time progresses. All right, that does it for us for now. Anything you want to chip in before we take off, G-Money?
No, I'm good. I mean, happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or whatever you celebrate. But have a good new year.
All right.
And we'll see you on the flip side.
We'll catch you later on the fast break. Peace. We're out of here.